Hello and welcome to the Wow Show, an hour full of stories from and for truck drivers on the road. We're going to have fun saying thank you for who you are and what you do as drivers. And we're going to talk to some people who know their stuff so that we can learn more. My name is David Binyachek. I'm your host. Let's get started. Hey there, Canada. David here. Welcome to today's show. Two things on the agenda. For the first little bit, I'm not going to take a ton of time, but I want to talk about what's new in Wow Trucks. A lot of you have come to know the Wow Show as we began it on the Lead Pedal Network. And a big shout out to our superstar, Mr. Bruce Outridge, for coordinating and developing this network. The hard work he's put in has been amazing. But there's so much more to Wow Trucks, and I want to talk about that. And then we're going to spend most of today talking about a really cool topic, which is the power of community. So community. I've got a community chess card here from Monopoly board game that my kids and I like to play. One of the benefits of community right up front is the get out of jail free card. And I won't ask you how many of your buddies have bailed you out of jail. Hopefully it's not out of jail, but one of the big things about being part of a community is they can bail you out when you need it. And again, hopefully it's not from prison, it's from other things in your life that you've run into. But it's nice to have friends. And as Mark Twain used to say, when you need a friend, it's too late to make one. When you need a friend, it's too late to make one. And so we're going to talk about the power of community. Last show, we had the honor of talking to Mike Motor Rosenau, and the wow moment for me was his quote, which he said, "All that I am and have today is because of where I came from." And I ended off that particular show talking about that and the fact that it's a multi-sided phrase, and that many of us, when we're young, we don't control where we come from. And some of you, like Motor, were fortunate enough to be in a family where, more or less, I mean, no family is perfect. Every family is kind of weird in its own ways. And you will know what that means for your family. But we're very fortunate if we grow up in a family where we feel loved and we basically feel safe and taken care of and encouraged and all of those things. And there's various degrees of that. But not everyone had that. And I'm not oblivious to that. Some of you, you're listening to this show and your family was anything but loving and anything but secure and safe and anything but encouraging. And you didn't have that. And so when you listen to somebody like Motor say, all that I am and have today is because of where I came from, the natural reaction might be bitterness. And that's not a great thing to carry. We don't win. It feels good in the moment, but we don't win when we do that. I'm going to tell you, it's never too late. And if it's true that all that he has and all that he is has come from where he came from, today, like today, that's what he has and he is. That all that you will be and all that you will have. I'm talking to you, the listener on the show, 1 year, 5 year, 10 years from now, will be because of where you choose to place yourself today, the environment or the community that you choose to surround yourself with today. That's an important concept. You do have a choice. When we're children, we don't. When we're above 18, we do. And that's a great thing. Don't ever let yourself be talked into in your own head the lie that you don't have a choice. I don't care if you're 65, 75, 85, it is not too late. Later in the show, we're going to hear pieces of an interview and just a fun time that I had with three gentlemen. And Mike Ouellet from Maritime Pride Ride, Ty Jam, Tyler Rogers from All Out Big Rigs, No Limits, and Todd Woitas from Alberta Large Cars. And these are three people who have created groups that transcend. They go deeper than simply being a Facebook group that you click to join and kind of watch and laugh at some of the posts and do that. The groups that they've built, they've actually been successful at helping people build real relationships that pay real dividends in real drivers' lives. And so, you know what, I get pumped when I talk about community, whether it's to my trucking friends or in the leadership workshops that I do. I think, you know what, in this generation of me, personal growth is best developed in community. And we're going to hear some cool stories from some cool people in the trucking industry that kind of illustrate that. And so I'm looking forward to that. But you know what? Let's start with what's new in Wow Trucks. And aside from this show, which is very new, and again, thanks to Bruce, it is many things. It is the calendar. And if you listen to my interview with Mike Motor, Rosenau, it began in 2008, was the very first Wow Trucks calendar. He was the very first driver, and his Freightliner FL 120 was the very first truck in that calendar. And for every year since, so it's been 14 calendars. This year is the 14th edition. Next year will be 15 years. We've celebrated 13 Canadian drivers and told their story through the calendar. The calendar itself is oversized, wire bound, and I do my best to make the quality of the materials used and the images and the story and the layout to at least somewhat reflect the pride and the quality that goes into what these drivers do every single day. It is a working truck calendar. And so there are some pimp your rides out there. And actually let me step back from that. 95% of the calendar over the years have been working trucks. I have actually showcased one or two trucks that were just too sweet and owned by too good of a person not to showcase in the calendar. But for the most part, it's working trucks. Our mission is to encourage and empower and recognize professional drivers on the road. When you look at some of these rides and realize that they work every single day, that's what makes the condition of their rides and what they present to people every day all that much more special. And so it's been 15 years, and the calendar is going strong. I hope that even though I'm getting older, it'll go on for another 25 years, 30 years, 40 years, and hopefully someone takes it up after I do. Secondly, it's the Facebook page, and that is, a little bit of a community. And the Facebook page is facebook.com/Wow Trucks Calendar. When you could give your page a name, I thought I was quick, but someone in the Philippines beat me to the Wow Trucks handle. And so this small diesel shop somewhere on a Filipino island is facebook.com/Wow Trucks. But it's Wow Trucks Calendar. If you just search for Wow Trucks and look for the symbol of the WOW with the Canadian flag and the O, and about 35,000 people that are fans of the page, that'll be us. And I encourage you to follow it. Daily posts of images, either that I've taken over the years or that people have shared and are really cool, and just celebrating, cool stuff on the road. But as well, we do contests. So every second Thursday, there is a Thank a Trucker Thursday contest where, I'll just put up a post and I'll ask you to, make a comment to enter that post, maybe with a phrase of the day, and then we just draw for a random prize. You know what? Wow Trucks is not a multi-million-dollar enterprise, and so the prizes may not be $100,000 in your bank account, but a $20 Tim's card or whatever. And then now with friends of Wow Trucks coming on board, companies who want to be part of this face of recognizing you and saying thank you to you, they're just going to keep on getting bigger. But whatever we can do, we do. And it's nice to be able to do something more than simply say thank you. And while that is sincere, it's nice to be able to just hand out something and just make somebody's day by doing that. And so we do that every second Thursday. And the Facebook group, actually, at the end of each month, usually about 8 or 9 days before the end of the month, you're going to see a calendar contest be posted. And that's how you more or less get into the calendar. So if you think that your truck or someone's truck that should be in Canada's Big Rig calendar, that's how you do it. So when I create that post and you see it, then what you can do is you can post a picture of your ride in the comment section and get your friends, get your family, get all the people that want to support you to go to your picture or that comment and like it, love it, just in some way do more than just look at it. And at the end of the month, usually 10 p.m., the last day of each month, I look to see who has the most likes, loves on their image, and they become the winner of that particular month. And the winner, yes, for this year, every month will win a spot in the 2022 Wow Trucks calendar. And they'll also usually win a prize. So last month was a $100 restaurant gift certificate to the restaurant of your choice. And congratulations to every winner for winning those prizes. And you also become the banner image for the Wild Trucks Facebook page for the month following. So, for example, Emma and Josh Sheehan, who are the winners this particular month, they're the banner image that you'll see on that Facebook page. So if you've never checked it out, go and check it out. Give it a like. Join us. Join into the fun. And even if you don't follow the page, watch for the contests. That is your way to get into the calendar. If you have any questions about it, david@wowtrucks.com is my email. You can certainly email me about that. Then there's the website, wowtrucks.com. And on the website, there is the Wow Show on the main page, and you'll see the most recent episode after it's aired will be posted to the Wow Trucks YouTube channel, and I'll image that onto the main page of Wow Trucks, so you can catch an episode that you may have missed on the Wow Trucks page. But as well, there's a page with Wow Truck driver and truck profiles. So truck and driver, driver and truck profiles, where many of the stories that I've told in the past, I've created a page. What we're doing is both for the people that win our contest, and you're going to be talking to Ty Jam and all of Big Rigs No Limits, their winner. We're starting to interview them and get pictures of their ride, both inside and out, and tell their story. And those go on, and they'll get a dedicated page for their story. And so if you're one of those people that every once in a while sits down with a cup of coffee or maybe a bottle of beer or a glass of wine and just likes to browse through some photos and catch up on cool things in the industry, it's a great place to be. And so it does that. And then there's the newsletter, which is sent out once a month. And if you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe on the wowtrucks.com website. There are unique contests that we hold through the newsletter. We feature driver stories all the time. We feature expert interviews to help us get better in the industry and give you just good tips and tricks and honest advice from people that know their stuff, as I say in the intro. And a lot of exciting things happen. Basically, I told you my mission. My mission is to celebrate you guys. I served you for 15 years when I worked for Shell in the oil and gas industry with diesel and lubricants and all of that. And I have come to appreciate who you are, what you do. And it's worth celebrating. And so often it's not. I can't tell you how many drivers that have made the calendar that kind of get emotional talking about the fact that not many people understand why they do what they do and what they do. And that recognition, we all need that in our lives. And so that's why we do it. And so, that's our mission. And we do it in three ways. We share stories. So on the website, you'll see the driver and truck stories. You'll see stories, just, what I call wow bombs, where we just highlight someone with a short video on the Facebook page. We do it in the newsletter. We say thank you through contests. And just some fun contests. And then the third way in which we kind of try to fulfill our mission is by talking to people who know their stuff. And here's why I want to make two great announcements, because they're going to be an active part of future episodes of the Wow Show. And so two shout outs. Number one, to Bar J Heavy Mechanical, Dave and Michelle James at Bar J Heavy Mechanical in Balzac, Alberta, just outside of Calgary. It's a great family-owned shop that comes from a lineage of people in trucking. Wes is part of this year's calendar. His dad won the show last year and won a way into the calendar through that show. And what Dave's going to be doing, and I love it. I mean, an honest mechanic is hard to find, and a mechanic with integrity. And you'll definitely find it with Dave and Michelle and the people that work in their shop. So what he's going to do is he's going to put together these short videos and these short things for the radio show that says, here's what we commonly find. Here's some ways to prevent that. So helping you save money, helping you do the best fleet maintenance that you possibly can. Motor talked about the fact in last week's interview that when something goes wrong, you want to get on it right away. And so, I'm looking forward to these, Bar J shorts on, it's kind of Wrench Talk, and we'll give it a formal name by the time that you see it. Wrench Talk may make the top three, and who knows, it may be what we call it. But I'm looking forward to that, because you know what? It's a huge part of your expense. And if you can just get great advice on how to minimize that, I think that's worthwhile. And so I want to thank Bar J Mechanical. I want to thank Dave and Michelle James for coming on board, becoming what I call a friend of Wow Trucks. And they're going to be giving you valuable information on a regular basis, at least twice a month on the shows. And so you can look forward to that. And the second shout out goes to a really cool bunch of people up in Nisku, Alberta, Lesco Distributing. If you're on the Facebook page, you may have seen the convoy and some of the video footage from that and the toy drive where they were delivering toys with this convoy for needy children in Nisku. Um, we're talking about community today, and I don't know of many organizations that are more community minded than Lesco Distributors. Now, what does Lesco Distributors do? That's even the coolest part. Yes, they're community minded, but they're all about Chrome, and they call it the candy store. And so we're going to all be kids in a candy store on many episodes of this show as Tina and Leslie and some of the crew at Lesco walk us through some of the latest and greatest things that you can possibly adorn your truck with. And we're just going to have some fun with that. And then as we post those clips from them as they're part of the show, we'll also capture video and we'll post that on the Wow Truck site after the show is aired on radio. And just keeping up with the latest and greatest toys that you might want to treat yourself to. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And so talking to experts or talking to people in the industry that can make our lives better, that's what this show is going to continue to grow in. And so those are the three ways. I'd encourage you to visit, join, subscribe, like our Facebook channel, sign up for the newsletter, check out our YouTube channel, maybe subscribe so you get the latest versions of the shows automatically notified to you. But we are about recognizing, celebrating, and empowering you. Wow Trucks. You know, the trucks may be cool too, but wow is about you. When I think of what I do, I'm a photographer, but more than a photographer, I'm a storyteller. And having said that, if right now you're wondering whether you're gonna, watch or listen to the rest of the radio forecast, and you're watching the replay, go to the last 5 minutes. If that's the only thing you do today is go to the last 5 minutes and watch my interview with Dina Bernice Nagy and what that meant. Um, you got to do it. You have to do it. But there's a lot of great stuff in between. And so when we come back from a little bit of a musical break, I want to get into this cool world called community and what it can mean to make your life better, easier, and more successful and more full of joy. We'll catch you after the break. Hey, welcome back to the show. Today we talked a little bit about what Wow Trucks is and the many faces of Wow Trucks as we seek to recognize and empower drivers, empower you, tell your story. And now I want to get into a word that I'm passionate about, which is, and a concept that I'm passionate about, which is community. There's a phrase out there, you can't live with them and you can't live without them. And so, that's probably how we feel about the community around us or various parts of the community around us every single day, or at least a couple times a week. But community is invaluable. And there is a couple things about community before we get into some cool driver interviews and just highlighting some people and then talking to Ty Jam and to Michael Ouellet and to Todd Woitas uh, about community. But there's just some cool things about community I always want to highlight that it puts in our lives. That's powerful, and that you should really not want to not have in your life. The first thing, obviously, that community provides us is support, and that can be really practical. And so, as I talk to people that are part of trucking communities or even not a formal trucking community, but are good at surrounding themselves with a community of friends and people that appreciate each other and know of each other more than just, a name and a photo, is that they'll be driving in some remote region. And if something happens to their truck and they don't have the fluid that's necessary to fix it or to get them farther down the road, So often it'll prevent them having to phone a tow truck because they'll just post it or call someone and they'll say, I know Rick, he's like a half an hour away from you. And I hear these stories over and over and over again where Rick shows up with the fluid that you need and saves you a ton of money. Communities are just really valuable for the practical support that they can provide, and also when the chance to feel good when you can do that to others. So not just receiving, but as you grow older, giving is way better than receiving. You get the chance to do that. I don't know about you, but for all of us, there are times in my wife and I's life where we've been humbled, where times have not been good, and out of nowhere, out of no necessity, the community around us has come and just rallied around us and done some pretty amazing things. Um, and it just lets you know you're appreciated, lets you know that you're loved, and those times just create relationships that will last a lifetime. And we've been able to do the same to others. And that's what community is all about, that sort of support. The other support that community provides, being part of a community, is just the chance to be yourself with someone, a listening ear. Whether you want to vent with a few choice words in between, or you want to cry, or you want to laugh, or you want to celebrate, it's just that voice that's so important. I mean, of any industry, what you do on the road is more naturally isolationist than many other jobs out there. And while isolation in, tidbits of time with some good music and a cup of coffee and some beautiful road can be amazing, too much of it is not good. And we need community in our life to break us out of some of the bad stuff that happens when we're too alone for too much time in a row. And so support is big, but also accountability. My definition for motivation is want to plus have to in life. And it's amazing for me, and I'll ask you, the listener, if you've ever encountered this. There's things that you've told other people or you've told yourself you want to do, but because there are no deadlines and there's no one asking you, have you done it? Have you done it? Have you done it? There's no one nagging you in your life, that you really haven't taken any steps towards it. We need people in our life. Accountability is huge to success, both in organizations and in our personal lives. Because you know what? You've got this life. You don't know how long it's going to be. You have dreams. You deserve those dreams. There's nothing stopping you from chasing those dreams unless you choose not to. And in my life, where I've chosen not to, even though I wanted to, were environments where there was no accountability to do what I said I wanted to do. And so a true friend is a friend that will speak truth to you in situations where you aren't acting in your own declared self-want or self-best interest. And we all need those people in their lives. I don't know if you have that. I certainly do. You should, if you haven't thanked them for it in a while, after this show, give them a shout out, send them a Facebook message, give them a call, say, hey, just listen to the Wow Show. And I just want to thank you for who you are. I need people to kick my butt to make me walk through my fears in life. Because sometimes otherwise, I don't have the courage in and of myself to do that. And that's another valuable part of community. And as a part of support, to go back to support, the one that you might call even a third item, it's just vision. When you're around other people, they have seen things and they can see things that we haven't seen and thus don't see in our lives today. So you're going to run into situations in your life where, you don't think this is possible for your truck, but you're going to find someone who actually had that experience and can tell you it is and tell you how. And so if you ever run into a dead end, whether it's emotionally in your own life from a personal perspective, or it's just practical matters of repairing a truck or possibilities for your business or whatever it is, just because you don't see an answer today, do not fall into the trap to believe that you're backed into a corner and there's nowhere to go. You just need to ask other people. And when you surround yourself in a community and with a community of people who care for you and know you, you're going to get those answers. And then life becomes more exciting. Recently, it was not this past month, but the month before. It's just a great example of community as we celebrated Cindy Hummel and her Gremlin Granny truck. And you can check out her Wow Trucks profile, like I was talking about on the Wow Trucks site. It's wowtrucks.com/Gremlin Granny, or just go under, truck and driver profiles, and you'll find her listed there as well. Another way to get to her. But what a cool lady, out of the States, and just having the chance to interview her. The coolest story where she's a single mom and she loves her daughter. And her daughter is a professional barrel racer in rodeo events. And she lives her life to make sure her daughter has a good life. And as a single mom, there came a time where her truck broke down and she didn't have a second and third truck just to hop into. And because she was a single mom, didn't have the funds to immediately get it back on the road. And the longer you're down in terms of time, that's costly as a trucker. Well, she's the last person to want this or to ask for this. But people in her community automatically came to her and said, would it be okay if we set up a GoFundMe page? And after a while in hesitation, she says, okay. And lo and behold, in a very short period of time, they raised the funds to get her a new engine, to put in her truck and get her back on the road so she could continue. And she's, as she was blessed, I know that she's blessed other people as she could with her life on the road. That's the cool thing of community. You know what? When community is strong, you don't need government. Woohoo! Sorry, getting a little bit political. Government has its place, but the best answer to most of society's needs comes from community. Because when community does it, you don't owe anybody anything. And that's just a cool place to be. And so I love Cindy's story. Check it out on the wowtrucks.com website. But there's a similar story going on with a trucker that's actually in this year's calendar. And he works for J Transport. And I had the chance to catch up with him, and I'm going to play his interview in just a moment. As I talked to him when we were on the photo shoot for this year's calendar. But Ben Overton is a veteran from the road. And like many of you listening, he's not a native Canadian. He came across from New Zealand. He's a Kiwi, which is one of my daughter's favorite fruit. And Ben is amazing. I had the chance to do a baby shoot of their Evie, their youngest daughter, when she was just newly born. She was like 2 or 3 or 4 days old, and it was just amazing. But Ben, as some of you saw on the Facebook page over the Christmas holidays, and this is how life can change, and this is where community comes in handy. Was out tobogganing with some friends, and there was on Garbage Hill, it's called, in Winnipeg, there was a concrete slab that was covered with snow, but not hard enough snow to launch yourself over it. Long story short, they crashed into it, and Ben broke his spine in a couple places, and that can be disastrous. A little bit of a good news story, a miracle story, is that he's going to walk again, which is amazing, because this is just a cool dude. I like Ben. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He cares about people. He cares about what he does as a profession. He loves his company, J Transport, and he's exactly the sort of guy that we like to celebrate. So take a couple minutes, sit back, relax, and listen to my chat with Ben Overton. This was prior to, but you'll get a glimpse of the good guy that he is. Here we go. Hey Canada, I'm here in Carsland, Alberta, outside of, was it Stella Jones Lumber Yard? They are the exclusive supplier to Home Depot, and some very busy folks. But more importantly, I'm here with Ben Overton. Ben, it's doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Like, it seems like these calendar shoots coincide with an additional child in your family.
Yeah, that's true. Last time was Yeah, we did one, eh?
Ben is no stranger to excellence on the road, and it's been a pleasure in the past to feature one of his previous trucks on the calendar. And congratulations, man, you won the Facebook contest.
Thank you.
Your fans across the continent and across the seas
No, I don't know about it.
from New Zealand came and just voted en masse, and it's awesome to have this, to be able to feature your story again this in the next year's coming calendar. So tell us what's new in your life. Family's grown.
Yeah, family's grown. I just had another baby girl, Emerson Jude. She's 7 or 8 weeks old now, so
Okay.
it's pretty exciting.
And you and Meg know how to do it right. All your kids are cute.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you've got a great family growing. And let's talk about your ride. So I'm just going to go behind you. Why don't you tell Canada about your truck that you're currently driving?
It's a 2020 389 Peterbilt with yeah, all the Jade extras on it that they like to put on it. And
Does it have obviously some shift products?
oh yeah, lots of shift products. You got the breathers and the shift fenders and the panels, and yeah, no, they certainly know how to put a truck together. So
Yeah, it's
cool.
beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. What year is the truck?
2020.
2020. Okay.
Yeah, 133,000 cows.
It's just starting out.
Yeah, she's coming into her second winter. So
I'm doing the extremes this week in Edmonton. I was with Travis Telford, whose ECM said his engine had 9.5 million kilometers on it.
wow.
And then this is just starting out, but it's a great start. I love it. So where are all you hauling these days?
We just anywhere and everywhere, really. Busy hauling hand sanitizer at the moment with all this COVID stuff going on, and this load here come out of just by Memphis, Tennessee, and
Okay.
from here I don't know, see where we end up, I guess.
The surprise destination.
Yeah.
Dispatcher may say, Ben, you're going to Disneyland.
Yeah, I wish. Not, yeah.
Oh, that's
Not hopeful of that one.
awesome. So you've been in Canada for how many years now? Obviously you're a
It'll
Kiwi.
be 5 years in next month.
That's
actually.
awesome.
Yeah, so.
Cool. So you're still enjoying life
Yep.
in the Great White North?
Yep. Permanent resident now, and maybe aim towards citizenship.
That's
see
awesome.
how it goes.
We're
More
happy.
time and money.
Well, yeah, but we're happy to have you. It's
Thank
awesome. Advice to young drivers on the road? Just starting?
Listen to the older guys.
Yes.
Yeah, don't get too cocky. Stay humble
Yes.
and respect the road and other users out there.
Yeah, and with Ben, that piece of advice, some people, they tell you to do as they say, not as they do. But Ben, what he told you to do is pretty well who he is, and that's why he's got a lot of people who love what he does and who he is. So, Ben, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, safe travels. And so to follow up on Ben's story after his interview and what happened over the Christmas time, similar to Gremlin Granny, a group of friends and family have come together, put up a GoFundMe page, and just rallied around him. I know of other people that went to visit him, and I'm sure I have no clue all of what support was offered, but I know that there are people that care about him, have rallied around him, and are actively supporting this family. If the GoFundMe is still active, I'll check that as I air this show. I'll post it on the link on the Wow Truck site when the replay is posted there. And if you so choose and are led, and you want to help with this particular family, you can certainly do so. Now, before we go to another musical break, it is contest time. And so earlier I was holding up a community chest card, the get out of jail free card. Here's the contest. There's a number of things. You can either receive money or you can pay money. Now, the largest payout that you get in community chest in the game of Monopoly is when your bank loan matures. If you want the chance to win a $10 Tim's card, the first 2 people who text the correct answer of the amount of money you receive when your bank loan matures from a community chest card in Monopoly, and text that answer with your, well, obviously I'm going to have your phone number, but your email as well, to 403-874-1044. Text it to 403-874-1044. The first two text replies that I get will win a $10 Tim's card. Again, the question is, the largest amount of money you receive from a community chest card is when your bank loan matures. How much do you get? 403-874-1044. Enjoy the music, and we'll be back in a little bit. Cheers. Hey, welcome back on Community Day. So we're talking about the benefits of community and highlighting just some cool stories of community and how essential it is when you're a trucker in the driving industry, in the trucking industry. And one of the things I love about this life in trucking is that I think more than any other sector, you get community. Like it's a part of your blood. And there's days where I was joking, you swear at it, but most of the time you recognize it's there for your benefit, and it's just a really good thing. And truckers know how to form community, and so that's what we're celebrating today. I hope you enjoyed the music over the break. We before the break had a look at Ben Overton and his story, and got the chance to play his interview of that I had with him during his photo shoot last year. And before we get to our three gentlemen, Todd and Michael and Ty Jam, I want to celebrate another story and play another interview. And this is of a special woman up in the Edmonton region. When I was up there last fall for the toy drive to cover that, Travis Telford with Dinosaur Oilfield Construction, and Kelly Nichols with Guy Freightways, they wanted to do a photo shoot with a young lady called Kalyn Marie. And Kalyn Marie is an amazing story. But what's cool about this, and let me say this before I say what I'm going to say, Kalyn Marie could outdrive you and kick your ass if she wanted to. So what I'm about to say in no means means that she's weak. But what I loved about hanging out with these three and capturing Kalyn's story that day is just the community that was there. Like Kalyn, as you'll see, is a single mom. She is incredibly talented at what she does. She is incredibly driven to provide for her daughter, and she's incredibly motivated and hardworking. But as I was just watching, kind of the three of them that day, uh, Travis and Kelly just they look out for her. And if she needs anything, they're there for her. And you know what? If they need anything, she's there for them. That's the way the community works. It's just another example, this particular story, of you're better together. And that's what community provides. So Kalyn Marie is actually going to be part of the next True North calendar that we do that celebrates women in trucking and professional drivers that are women in trucking. The first one came out a couple of years back, first ever calendar to celebrate exclusively women drivers. And it was a calendar I produced outside or aside from the Wow Trucks calendar. And I'm really looking forward to celebrating. We got some cool images. You'll get an idea from this interview that you're about to hear that she's a really cool lady. And so Kalyn Marie, just shout out to you. You're amazing. The way that you've carved out a career, the way that you love your daughter and you work hard for her, just is an amazing story to tell. And having said that, before we go to the interview, her story is being told currently in Pro Trucker Driver Choice magazine. She is the driver of the month. So you can catch up on all things Kalyn Marie as well, not only through this show, but through checking out Pro Trucker Driver's Choice this month, where she is the driver of the month, and her story and some of the images that I captured that day are part of that story. So here we go. Here's my chat with Kalyn Marie. And if you're a young woman considering trucking, listen up, because this woman does it right. And she's just got some motivational and encouraging words and advice if you're considering a job in transport. So here we go. So, Kalyn Marie, we have a different location, but I have an important question for you. And I think it's an area that you can contribute because you've been through it.
Yeah.
What's your message to women drivers or women considering life on the road?
I mean, I know it's tough right now because it's a lot more expensive to get your class 1 than when I got it a few years back. But my biggest message is I've been told by numerous people that you can't do it and no one's perfect. I've messed up, people mess up, but you just gotta keep trying. Don't stop, don't give up. If I would have listened to anyone that told me I couldn't do it, I would have stopped doing this probably a couple days after I started 9 years ago. So my advice is keep pushing. If it's something you want to do, go for it. Who says you can't? The only one that says you can't is you, because at the end of the day, it sucks, it's hard, and yeah, you're in a man's world, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. It doesn't mean you can't. I mean, I started driving truck and I was hauling groceries, and then I got trained on driving different things, hauling pipe, you name it, and now I'm in a winch truck and hauling gravel. So it doesn't just stop. You can do anything you want to in driving truck, and that's the biggest thing for me is I want to learn everything, so that at the end of the day my eggs aren't all in one basket and I'm capable of anything. So my big message is just don't give up.
It's an awesome message.
Yeah.
You also do this for your daughter. Talk
Yeah.
about the lifestyle it carves out that is important to you.
Yeah, I'm a single mom, but I mean, I make it work because growing up we went without sometimes, and I never want her to have to do that. So I make it work where I am home every night, but I'm in the truck and I still do what I love, and I didn't have to give it up because I found a way to make it work. And an awesome company who helped me make it work.
You're awesome, Kalyn Marie.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You bet.
So what can you say? I mean, amazing. I don't care if you're a girl or a guy. That attitude that you just heard from Kalyn Marie is what we celebrate, and I love that. I think I said it before we aired the interview, but Kalyn, you're a hero, both to your daughter and to the people around you. They can learn so much. A couple wow moments out of that interview that I just want to briefly touch on before we head into our conversation with Ty and Michael and Todd and our communities on Facebook that Harner Communities for Truckers. Number one, she talks about no one's perfect. And I love that. Perfection in life is a heavy weight to put on your shoulders. And it's not something that I think that we're meant to carry. Matter of fact, over the years, here's what I've learned. It's not your perfection, but your position that will determine your potential in life. It's not your perfection. So many of you in this era of personal achievement are putting all the weight for your success on your own shoulders, and it's getting heavy. And there are days when you see some success where you're feeling like you're on top of the world, but then the roller coaster takes you down into the valleys, and those valleys are extended. Because if it's all up to you, I'll point it out myself. If it's all up to me in life, I'm in trouble. So when I say, it's not your perfection, but your position, community will take you farther than you ever could have gone yourself. And we talked about some of the ways in which that does that, but Kalyn just reinforced that. It's not about being perfect. I'm not doing this show because I'm perfect. I'm far from it. I have my huge list of failures in my life, but bad choices are the second best choice you can make if you learn from them. And I try to do that. But I'm surrounded by a bunch of people that make me better. I think of the Sutter family in hockey. I mean, how many Sutters are there in the NHL? Actually, that would be a good contest question. There's probably at least 5 or 6 of them through the lineages. But here's the power of community, and here's the power of an environment. I mean, it's really no, weird, sort of chance thing that, Sutter NHL hockey players have kids that become NHL hockey players, just like there are political families where, one political leader tends to give birth to kids who rise up to be political leaders. Why? Because in those environments that they grow up to, they gain the benefit of seeing, learning, being expected to adapt some of the habits that are crucial to success in that environment. And so environments matter. We are the product of our environment. My behaviors today, as warped as they are a result of all the experiences I've gone through in my life. They shape my worldview. And if it's true that your past determines your behavior and your position today, then the cool news is that if you can see kind of what you want in the future, dare to get out of being backed into the corner and look down the road and see what you want in your life. The environment you put yourself in today, more so than busting your butt and spending 27 hours a day trying to learn and do and do the environment, the community that you put yourself in today, the people that you surround yourself with, the things that you listen to, the things that you read, all of your inputs will do way more to taking you to that place than any sort of heroic but misled notion that you can do it all on your own will. So Kalyn, thank you for that. She also said, don't buy into the can't in your head, those voices that I can't, I can't, I can't. You know what? We magnify, we blow up in our minds. We make it a lot bigger what we focus on. And if we're focused on our can'ts, it's amazing how life sucks. And that quickly becomes an attitude, not that anyone else put on us, but that, as she kind of hinted, you chose. Focus on what you can do, and life gets a lot better. We're going to take another break for some music, and when we come back from that break, we're going to get into my discussion with Tyler Rogers, Todd Woitas, and Mike Ouellet, and some great stories about trucker communities and what's happening out there. Enjoy the songs. So, hey, here we go. We're going to head into a conversation with Ty Jam, All Out Big Rigs, No Limits on Facebook. 40,000 plus drivers, part of this community. Maritime Pride with Mike Ouellet. And I think they're above 30,000 people right now. I don't have the number right in front of me, but another large community in the Maritimes and out east for truckers. And then Todd Woitas in the Alberta Large Cars. And they are a Western group and a large community as well of people coming together, creating an environment to help people make it. Not only, this isn't just about surviving. If we can get our mindset when we're not feeling great about life, about just surviving and what that takes. That's selling yourself short. These people set up communities that help people thrive, not survive. You've got one life, thrive. Don't just survive. And so I have a confession to make. We had a great chat, and when I cut the chat that we had into pieces, the intro I botched and wrecked, and I don't know what happened to it, but it wasn't available for this show. So I'm going to give you a quick replay of the action that happened when Ty Jam and Todd and Mike came on the show. We're having some fun because I kind of created a game for the show where I pitted the groups against each other, and they are representing their group, and they're going to win this cool and awesome trophy. That's actually kind of weird, but they're representing their groups. And so when I started the show, I had this contest. And so we started with Ty Jam, and I asked Mike and Todd, I said, here's the question. Ty Jam is kind of his rapper name. What does Ty and Jam stand for? Because his real name is Tyler Rogers. And Mike gave some answer that really wasn't correct. And Todd, it's an unfair advantage because he's closer to Tyler, and I think they've probably met, recognize that Ty Jam is just Tyler, and his wife's name is Jamie. And so Ty Jam is the rap name that came out of that. And so Alberta Large Cars went ahead 1-0. And then the next question was to this group of three guys. Was around Todd Woitas. Now, his name is spelled Woitas. And you know what? I have to confess, I've always had, difficulty. I always kind of step back. And to this day, I probably still pronounce it incorrectly. So my question to Todd and to Mike was, pronounce it. And I didn't even attempt at pronouncing it, and I just spelt it out. Todd's last name is Woitas. And it was fun. Ty said, Todd's always told me it's white ass. But that could be close to the truth. But you know what? Mr. Mike gave the pronunciation where it's not that quite pronounced between the two words. And he just said Woitas. And Todd said, that's it. He got it. And so Maritime Pride and the Ride got a point. You know what? I gave a half a point, I think, to Ty Jam for being close on that one. And so the All Out Big Rigs had a half a point. And then the final one was with Mike, and his last name is Ouellet. And so I went to Ty Jam and to Todd, two good old Western boys, and I said, spell that. And you know what? Ty came up with something that was very close, got half a point. Todd, I believe, got it as well. And so he got a point. And so we're heading into this part of the conversation that we're going to tap into. We're going to go in midstream to our conversation with these three, because there's some great stuff coming up in terms of our conversation with them and some more fun and games as we continue this rivalry between the groups. But we're going to head into there with All Out Big Rigs and No Limits and Alberta Large Cars with a slight half-point lead going into this competition. So as we cut into the conversation, you're going to hear Ty Jam, All Out Big Rigs, No Limits on Facebook. He's going to be the first voice speaking. Todd is going to harp in with a complaint, and then it'll be quite evident when you hear Mike on the conversation. So with no further hesitation, here's midstream. Sorry, boys. My conversation with three great gentlemen talking about the power of these communities to help people thrive. Here we go.
Raise money for people that need it, and enjoy it. This is fun. I love doing all this.
That's cool. I love it. And I have fond memories of being in Brandon, Manitoba. I was doing a fleet shoot in southeast corner of Saskatchewan and hopped on over, and you guys were having a block party in Brandon that night and just hanging out and talking. And that's when life gets good. So it's
block party.
Yeah,
why wasn't I invited to this, Ty?
Everybody's invited. Everybody always says that to me, but it's like everybody's invited. There is no person in this planet that isn't, maybe Justin Trudeau, but there's no person that is
Too funny. Too funny. So gentlemen, we're going to take a break now, and actually it's going to be all request Monday morning and on the show. And so Mike, Maritime Ride and Pride, do you have a favorite song that you want to play during the break?
Anything Bill Weaver, Tony Justice.
All right, we will find some Bill Weaver or Tony Justice, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Cool.
All right, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that song. Thanks, Mike, for picking out your favorites. We're here with Mike Ouellet, Todd Woitas, and Ty Jam, Tyler Rogers, three huge communities in Canadian trucking: Alberta Large Cars, All Out Big Rigs, No Limits, and Maritime Ride and Pride. And we're talking about community and the power of it. And so these gentlemen introduced kind of who their groups are and what they do, and got into a couple stories, and we're going to find out a little bit more. But before we get into that, we're kind of holding a little contest here between the groups. We've got the nation. It's like the Canada Cup. And right now, Maritime Ride and Pride has 1 point. Alberta Large Car and All Out Big Rigs are half a point behind with half a point each. But there's lots of points to be had. So a little bit of Canadiana, and you can play along on the radio. As you're driving along, you might want to play along with this. And if you're able to, you know what, if you're able to guess them all, send me an email, david@wowtrucks.com. Would love to hear from you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some names of Canadian cities. And I want you to tell me, gentlemen, whether they are in Alberta, Saskatchewan, or the Maritimes. Alberta, Saskatchewan, or the Maritimes. We've got those three provinces represented. The first one I think will be an easy one, but let's go for it. Mr. Spock in Vulcan. Mike, where's Vulcan? Is it Alberta, Saskatchewan, or the Maritimes?
I'm going to go with a total guess of Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan. Okay. Ty, what do you think?
Alberta.
You think Alberta. Todd.
I drove through it today, Alberta.
Okay, so it's 1.5 and 1.5 to 1. So there's now a tie. Second city, Mushaboom. Mushaboom. Is that in Alberta, Saskatchewan, or the Maritimes? Ty.
I'm gonna go with, that sounds like Saskatchewan, but I think I'm gonna go with Maritime.
You're going to go with Maritimes, okay? Todd?
I'm gonna go with Maritimes too. Yeah.
Mike, can you confirm or do you deny that Mushaboom is in the Maritimes?
Unless it's in Newfoundland, I rarely really doubt it being maritime. So I'll go with Saskatchewan again.
You're going to go with Saskatchewan. Well, my friends, Mushaboom is in the great province of Nova Scotia. And so Maritimes is the right answer. And so we got 2.5 to 2.5 to 1, which is okay. The next city, urine. Urine. Are we talking the Maritimes? Are we talking Saskatchewan? Are we talking Alberta? Todd.
I'm gonna say Saskatchewan.
And you say that with a smug look on your face, Mike.
Well, it's like Regina, right? It's
Yeah.
Never mind.
Beep.
We'll go 3 for 3 here, Saskatchewan.
You're gonna go for Saskatchewan, Ty?
I'm gonna go with Saskatchewan too. We got like elbow and eyebrow, and
Regina.
sounds like it fits.
You're all correct. And so 3.5, 3.5, and 2. Let's go for the next one. Dildo. Is that in Saskatchewan, Alberta, or the Maritimes?
Who's going first?
Go for it, Todd. You look confident.
I'm gonna say the Maritimes.
Okay. Ty,
I'm gonna second that one.
you're gonna second that one, Mike.
Newfoundland, Maritimes.
You're saying that confidently, and you are absolutely correct. And so we're at 4.5, 4.5, and 3. You've each got a point. Let's go with cardigan. Cardigan. Nice and little sweater for the winter time with buttons on it. Is that Alberta, Saskatchewan, or the Maritimes? Mike, why don't you kick her off?
I'll go with Maritimes.
You're going to go with the Maritimes, okay? Mr. Ty?
I want to say Alberta.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Alberta, I'll take that answer. And then Todd.
I do believe it is in Alberta.
Okay, so we got Ty and Todd going for Alberta. Mike's sticking home with the Maritimes, and he's absolutely correct. It's in Prince Edward Island.
Good for you, Mike. Oh.
And so we have got a 0.5 point separation between Mike and Ty Jam and Todd with this final city. And it's many words long. Mosquito grizzly bear's head lean man. So the town is Mosquito grizzly bear's head lean man. Is that in Alberta, Saskatchewan, or the Maritimes? Ty, kick it off.
I'm gonna go with Saskatchewan. That sounds Saskatchewan.
Todd?
Yeah, my sister's cousin's brother's husband saying Saskatchewan too. Yeah.
Family's big on the prairies. We're all related.
Sorry, Ty.
We're all related. Mike, what do you want to say?
Oh, Saskatchewan.
You're going to say Saskatchewan. Okay. You're all absolutely correct. Mosquito grizzly bear's head lean man is in Saskatchewan.
Whereabouts is that? It's got to be somewhere up north.
I can look that up, Todd. I just found this list of other names of cities and provinces and figured since you guys were on the road, you'd know where they were. And you did pretty well. And so far, we've got this lead going on between Alberta Large Cars and All Out Big Rigs. But Mike, you're not too far behind, so stay tuned. But let's stick in Saskatchewan for a moment because it's my favorite story of community, and it's not trucking related, but I wanted to lead into some of your stories. I do a lot of training in Regina, and there's a place that I do the training at. It's called Libel Stadium. And in my opening, I said, if you're fed up with government, community is where it's at. I truly believe that. And I won't get political here, but community is where it's at. And so this stadium is for the local high school kids, and they play football. It's got a beautiful scoreboard. It's got beautiful stands. It's got a video facility. It's got a production facility. Like if I was a kid playing football or whatever sport, lacrosse, whatever, they play many sports on it. Like, man, wow, what an inspiration. 0 government funds. 2 firefighters decided that to get kids off of drugs and to keep them off the streets, they needed this. And they went out and raised $4 million to have it built. And the cool thing about community is when you do it in community, you don't owe anybody else anything.
No.
It's yours, lock, stock, and barrel. You have
Yep.
total control over it. You're totally autonomous. And what a feeling to come together and do. And that's what I said it earlier. I love what your groups are doing because, in similar ways, maybe not in the magnitude of $4 million, but in similar ways, that's what your groups are doing. Mike, you care to share a story of something that's gone on in your group that you're just proud of and you want to brag on some people?
Oh, there's been a few different things over the years. I mean, one that sticks out right now was a fellow driver that was down on his luck, had a lot of breakdowns, owned his own rig, and we know the racket. I mean, a couple of breakdowns and it all adds up. So anyway, here we were a couple of weeks before Christmas, and we got wind that his heat furnace, that witch doctor, whatever you want to call them furnace huts there outside. Yep. Anyway, it broke down, and so anyway, we all passed the word within the group, and within a day or two, we had enough money raised to buy him another furnace, not a new one, but at least he was able to buy a furnace to replace his. I mean, just before Christmas like that was great time of the year to do it, right? So
Amazing.
that's just one of the things that really sticks out in my mind right now.
Yeah. And you know what happens, I find, is that when people receive like that, they tend to give. Like it's kind of like a boomerang. When you get like that from your community. And my wife and I, there's been times in our life where we've had community come through for us in various things. And you're just humbled, but man, it makes you want to just give back, and it tightens relationships, and it's so cool.
Absolutely. And another one that really, the top 2 probably that sticks out in my mind was a young guy from New Brunswick. Actually, he was a young veteran. He got out of the services and got into trucking. And so anyway, a few years later, he put a post on the group asking about so-and-so that drove for another so-and-so back, so-and-so many years ago. And just like that, within a couple of days, somebody piped up and knew him, and he was looking for his dad, is what he was looking for. So anyway, we were able to connect the dots and find his dad for him, and he was a truck driver as well. So It was a really proud moment, really, to be able to, establish a father and son like that and connect them back together. Right?
Wow.
That's really cool.
So I know what O stands for, and the mic go on the screen. It's Oprah. Like that's kind of like an Oprah moment, bringing people back together after so many years. So we may have given you a new middle name there, Mr. Mike, but that's amazing. Yeah, I love that.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing. Ty, what's going on? I was thinking during the break of Gremlin Granny, and what an incredible story we shared. She won your photo contest of the month, and your group bought her a motor when she couldn't afford it, and her truck was broke down. And you've got a lot of stuff like that going on.
Yeah, a lot of guys pitched in for that. I think they raised a little bit of money, and a guy had the motor somewhere else in the States there, and he kind of pretty much donated it. And then, you know, we raised a little bit of money for him to purchase it, and got it shipped over to her and slapped in her truck, and mechanics, the whole 9 yards, everybody pitched in. It was super awesome. Another one that was really cool was a buddy of mine, Dean. He was in, I want to say it was Swift Current. He blew a radiator in his old cab over, and he put the word out that, you know, he was having some radiator issues, and it was asking around if anybody had a radiator for that old truck. And we found one in Alberta. Somebody from the group had one in Alberta. Yep. And we figured out how to get it there. And then not only that, but I think it was like 4 or 5 members from the group ended up stopping at the truck stop, and they helped him replace that radiator in the parking lot and got him back on the road. So that was kind of a proud moment for us too.
Come on. Yeah.
And you know, like, there's some sadder moments that really meant a lot, bringing people together. When a really good friend passed away in a car accident, and, you know, the word got out, and there was 60 some trucks showed up at his funeral, and that meant a lot to the family, to us closer friends of his. And, you know, that kind of stuff really hits a guy's heart deep and means a lot.
Yeah, it just says you were noticed, like you were, you meant something. And that's awesome. Mike, I think I read with, and I haven't been down there to witness it, but I think you guys do a convoy as well in remembrance of some of your members as well, right?
No, not that I. we've had like a few funeral processions and stuff, but
yeah,
convoys.
Well, guys coming together, you know, just bring the trucks together, saying farewell, saying goodbye.
We've done a few of those over the years, like probably 3 off the top of my head here. So
yeah, no, that's good.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, Mr. Todd, what's going on Alberta Large Cars?
As of late, well, you know, COVID kind of shut everything down there for the last, you know, year or whatever. But, you know, it's just every day I see guys, you know, helping each other out. Like my buddy Kelly, he broke down here in Westlock, and Brett Scott, well, we call him the sheriff because the guy's got a memory like an elephant. Like, he knows guys' names, what they're driving, and what color their truck is, and last time they had a haircut, pretty much, right? But yeah, even that was just posted there yesterday. Buddy broke down in Westlock or whatever, right? But, you know, other than our convoys and fundraisers that we do for, my phone's been going stupid. But with our convoys in our fundraisers that we do, even myself, one year I ran in between Christmas and New Year's. A guy he was parked for 3 or 4 days in Red Deer. It's minus 37. Couldn't get his truck going. Stop, give him a boost. I sat out there for 4 hours trying to get his truck going. The guy says, "Hey, I know a guy across the street at the John Deere dealership." Within 10 minutes, the guy was there with the Herman Nelson heater and a big battery pack. And he drove his little tractor across the road there to the Flying J in Red Deer. Yeah. And we had him going in 10 minutes. I'm like, why didn't we call you like 3 hours ago, right? But, you know, stuff like that. But even a lot of the members, they'll just take upon themselves to arrange something too. My buddy Kelly Nichols, he works for guys, and he heard of this little guy in Black Falls, 3 or 4 years old, call him Super Sammy, battling cancer. And he's, you know, his parents wondering if we could get a bunch of trucks together, just go for a drive-by. Yeah. And this was more or less right at the very beginning of COVID there or whatever. And it was last summer. And yeah, we just fill up the trucks with diesel and go for a ride, right? And just make a little guy's day. You know, things like that it means so much to people. Just to offer some support between the fundraisers and stuff like that. I can't take any credit for any of this stuff. It's all the people, like it's the drivers. Where can you go nowadays and build some little trophies out of some scrap steel, make them look cool, I built these little model trucks or whatever out of scrap steel, got them polished up, and in a matter of 8-9 hours, have a fundraiser and raise, like I said, $13,000-14,000 or whatever it was, and a couple grand for another buddy. And it's not me, it's the boys, it's the group, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I like it. It's many faces. So
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I mean, people can go to any one of your groups. I don't think you have to live in Alberta. Do you have to live in Alberta to join Alberta Large Cars?
No.
You have to live in the Maritime. I know you don't, Mike, because you've got like Luella Stevenson and other people that have just joined your group. But there's one thing to click join and get accepted, and there's one thing to really leverage community. And so what do you encourage these people to do once they've joined to really kind of tap into the power of the stories that you're talking about? Any one of you can answer that one.
Stay nice and stay positive.
Yeah. Post, positive things. Like even on ALC, I got 2 rules. I got no racism and no bashing.
Yep.
You guys can fight amongst yourselves or whatever. If you got something against the guy, personal message him. You don't have to bring it onto the site, right? Yeah. And 90% of the guys are really good with that. Like if they see a post that's kind of grumpy, they'll let me know or let one of the other admins know or whatever, and we take care of it and we get on it real fast. I got brown friends, I got black friends, I got Asian friends, I got white friends, and there's good and bad in everybody. But in the group like this, we're all one. We all stick together. We all help each other.
I love that.
And that's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
So
you're professional drivers.
Yep.
I like it. It.
And just post lots,
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's some quotes on community. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. You've kind of proven it. Those who are happiest are those who do the most for others. Booker T. I've lived that. When you live a life serving other people, it's amazing how you don't focus on your own problems and life seems to be better. And so for our listeners, what they can do, check these groups out. So on Facebook, it's All Out Big Rigs, No Limits. If you type that in the search field, you'll come up with it. I'm also going to put a link up on the wowtrucks.com website to their group, Alberta Large Cars. You can either type it in or follow the link on wowtrucks.com, and Maritime Pride. Follow the link or type it in or go to their website, maritimerideandpride.com. And that's a great looking website, Mike. You guys did an awesome job. I want to just thank you guys for sharing about what you guys are doing. I think it's a great opportunity for people to get plugged in, not just for being social, but really it's a lifeline in so many situations in life. And driving on the road, being isolated isn't easy, and community is where it's at. So I appreciate your stories. I appreciate what you do. And I'm trusting that there are going to be some people that will be connecting in as well and just add on to what's going on. And before we leave, gentlemen, we need a tiebreaker because we've got this contest going on, and the tiebreaker is going to be between Alberta Large Cars and All Out Big Rigs. And it is one more city that they need to tell me where this particular city comes from. And that city is Climax. Is it Alberta? Is it Saskatchewan? Or is it the Maritimes?
Saskatchewan.
Mr. Todd.
What's that?
Mr. Todd, is that Alberta, Saskatchewan, or the Maritimes?
Saskatchewan.
It's Saskatchewan. Ty.
Saskatchewan.
You both are correct. Okay, the next tiebreaker. Here we go. The winner is going to be the person whose birthday is closest to mine. I'm at the end of September. When's your birthday, Ty?
May 30.
May 30th. Okay, Todd?
July 18th.
July 18th. And the winner and holder of the trophy until the next contest is Alberta Large Cars. Congratulations, Ton, for representing your group. and doing that.
That was that one.
Well, my thanks to Todd and Ty and Mike, just for a fun conversation. It was good getting together with those guys. I've known Todd and Ty because they live in closer proximity to where I do. So I've met them at some shows, but I've been in touch with Mike over the years many times, and I'll look forward to getting to know him and his group even better. Congratulations to Alberta Large Cars. Todd brought home the trophy in a last minute, exciting overtime tiebreaker. And so you guys have bragging rights until I pit these gentlemen or someone else from your groups in a friendly competition sometime in the future. So stay tuned for that. These are great guys with great groups. As I said during the interview, check out wowtrucks.com. I'll have all the links to those groups and you can connect to them or just search them out on Facebook. All Out Big Rigs, No Limits, or Alberta Large Cars, or Maritime Ride and Pride is something that you can search out. And I just want to kind of recap what Mike and Todd and Ty said. The key to these groups is not just hitting the join button and then doing nothing and watching. That doesn't build a relationship. Social media is awesome for connecting people, but it's only awesome when that connection goes past a like or a comment and actually results in people connecting. And so, you know what, when you join, pick your group, join, or pick your groups, join, put some effort into posting, letting people know what you find funny, what you like, what you do, all of those things. Stay positive on there, and definitely build connections. Now, this isn't about, when you join these communities, you don't have to be an uber extrovert to join these. It's not just where all the extroverts go. It's just about plugging into a power source. And if you make 5 great connections, you don't need to make 500. If you make 5 great connections, you never know where that's going to take you. And you never know where those connections are going to allow you to have purpose in helping others in the future, and where they're going to come in handy in helping you use your community chest, get out of jail free card, and bail you out of a situation yourself. If you can see where you want to be 5 years from now, the environment you put yourself in today is going to have a huge influence. More than any effort you can put into it yourself is going to have a huge influence on whether you get there or not. You owe yourself this one. So pick a group if you don't have one already. Join, start connecting, and enjoy the benefits thereof. So here's what I want to do. I want to end off today's show. It's been a good one. I really enjoyed all the segments and all the people that we've had a chance to talk to today. I want to end off with my first ever recorded Wow Trucks interview that I did. And it was way back in a Pro Trucker Magazine Alberta Big Rig Weekend. It was at the old Race City Speedway in Calgary. That doesn't exist anymore. It's been closed down for many years. The couple is Dean and Bernice Nagy, and they had won their way into the Wow Trucks calendar with a beautiful Bond-themed Kenworth with a unique set of 16-sided pipes. But more important than their beautiful truck is this beautiful couple. And as you listen to this interview, you're going to love and you're going to laugh at their story and the youthful exuberance that they display. And they're just part of the great people that make up the fabric of the trucking community, and stories that need to be told. They are truly 70 going on 17. So here we go. Meet Dean and Bernice Nagy. Hello, Canada. I want you to meet Dean and Bernice Nagy, who are the latest winners into the 2010 Wow Trucks calendar. Dean and Bernice, can you tell us how you met? How'd you get started in all of this?
Oh, Lordy. Country 105 in Calgary.
Country 105, how did that happen?
On
They
the
have a
date
dateline.
line.
A dateline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sweet. And so who emailed who or who messaged who?
They put your names together with whoever they think you're compatible with,
And then you make a call.
and you make a phone call. And
And how many years has it been married?
5 years married, and we trucked together for a year
Wow.
before that. Yeah.
So you would recommend Country 105 to meet someone
most
new?
definitely, most definitely.
Tell us about the truck, your gorgeous truck.
My son bought a T800 with a studio sleeper on it, and I thought, gee, that's kind of nice. I'd like to have that more room. So we decided to start looking, and of course we like the W900L instead of the T800. So we started looking around, and she found some on the internet, and then one day we were coming through Aberdeen, South Dakota, and we found this one.
Very nice. Where all has it been? Where have you taken it?
Oh, it's been all over the States and BC to Ontario.
Wow. I'm just going to back up and give people watching this video a full glimpse of this particular truck so that you can see it. Just gorgeous. All right, so there's one last question I have. And you got to tell people, because they're going to see this in the calendar, but tell us about these pipes.
We were in San Antonio, Texas one day, several years ago, and there was a guy there at a chrome shop told us that there was somebody out of Toronto making stainless steel octagon pipes.
Right.
And my wife thought about it as we were going down the road, and she says to me, I think that octagon would look ugly, it's too big. Why don't we talk to our guy in Calgary and see if he'll custom build us one 16-sided? And it was her idea to do the 16-sided stainless steel.
So you've always got to go one up. That's all right.
Well, it just looked prettier.
That is
awesome. And of course, this truck here has got more of that 16-sided to go with it. Like we've got the backup light covers there that are bent to, like that.
Yeah.
Also, these things down here has got extra bend in it.
Cool.
To match that. Our next project truck is going to be even more of that bending on it.
Very, very sweet. So we'll see that next year?
Possibility.
In the shows across Canada?
Possibly.
Well, Dina, Bernice, congratulations on your win today. Congratulations on making it into the calendar. Can we get one more kiss? What a cool story. The truth is, all of us carve out stories every single day with our lives. It's being written as we go along. And if we live it in isolation, the sad thing is that that story has a hard time being told because no one's witnessing it. When we live it in community, there are people to listen to the story, to tell the story, to repeat the story, and to pass it on, even when we can't. Sadly, and it's why this was my first video, but it still is one of the dearest that I've ever taken. It was impromptu, it was not planned, but it was on purpose, if you know what I mean. A year and a half after this video was taken, Bernice had developed an aggressive cancer that was not there at the time, and that took her life. And while her life ended, her legacy doesn't. Bernice, you are missed. Thank you for your story. Thank you for sharing a joy for life. And thank you for touching those even that just met you. You made our lives better. Thank you for being part of community so that we can tell it. That's our show for today. Join us next Monday when our theme switches from community to perspective. We all have different perspectives on life, and it's amazing how increasingly in many aspects of society it seems to be getting more polarized when it doesn't have to. Next week, we're going to take a couple perspectives on perspective. The first perspective has to do with what I naturally do with Wow Trucks, and that's taking pictures. And so if you're a budding photographer or you just want to take better pictures, join me on the show as I spend some time and walk you through, some practical considerations about different perspectives you can take that will help you take better pictures and get pictures that you didn't think you could get today, just with a few simple tips. And then it's my pleasure to share an interview with a good friend of mine, Dr. Randy Johnson. He is a psychologist on relationships, and he just wrote a book that originally I had not planned to have on the show, but after I read it, realized how relevant it is to truckers and trucking. The book's called Could Questions Be the Answer? And they can be. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about questions being the answer to better relationships with the people you meet on your loading dock that you may or may not like that day, to better relationships with your dispatcher, if you're a dispatcher, with your drivers, with your general manager, and even better relationships with your family and your friends and the people around you at home. Perspective is cool, and it gets really powerful when we continue to broaden our perspective, because the truth is what we see on a day-to-day basis is limited to what we see, and rarely is that the complete truth. And so we're going to have a blast next week, applying perspective not only to photography, but to can questions be the answer? And we're going to have a special guest. We're going to explore that specifically to your day-to-day in the trucking industry. Have yourself a great week. Again, thank you for who you are. Thank you for what you do. God bless.